Hey, what's up, guys? It's Sam here. The heat's hot in the studio, but don't worry, I'm just using my Goodwill and my AirPods Max to stay warm. Believe it or not, the rumor mill does not celebrate the holiday season. We are full speed ahead already into 2021. Today, talking about AirPods 3, we have the pricing, and even some more interesting details about how these are going to be constructed, the processor on the inside, as well as information about an iPhone 11 recall program, which is pretty wild. And Apple is doing some interesting stuff with the future of the iPad line. Some of it's like, okay, cool. The other part is like, man, we're starting to get a little boring out here. So if you guys are excited for this one, drop a like down below, hit subscribe for more, and let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and jump into the video. All right, so I want to lead things off today with the iPhone 11 repair program. Of course, just like every repair program that Apple launches, this was published at 5 p.m. on a Friday, which, believe it or not, is when most journalists do get off work. I never approve of this. I just think it's very shady. I don't think it's the right way to put out news about an important product recall replacement program. But alas, this is how they've done it yet again. This one is only for iPhone 11 models, but it covers a pretty wide range. Now, of course, when Apple writes about this, they're like, hey, it only covers a small little percent, Little Red Riding Hood wouldn't even have noticed this one. Yet the effective models were produced between November of 2019 and May of 2020. So we've got some time, 6 months of time in between when these phones were manufactured. Apple's got a cool tool to check if your model was affected. So anybody that has an iPhone 11, there is the chance if it was manufactured in these dates that you could run into unresponsive touch or issues with your display in the future. And this seems to be different than the green tint issues throughout the last year. But you go to Apple's tool, you enter your serial number, and I actually just sold my iPhone 11 to somebody online, so I can't actually check to see if mine was affected, but use this tool, see if there's something up, and Apple will, of course, replace either that module or maybe if they're short on the modules, your entire phone for free. You'll be taken care of. It's good that Apple's addressed this because while this wasn't a big issue, great to see Apple taking accountability here. It always looks way worse when this pops up as a media story and then Apple responds. It just feels better for everybody when Apple's like, hey, internally, we've been reviewing this and it is actually an issue. We're going to replace your phone for free. Very good. I approve. I update gold star for Apple. Now, following that, you might remember that we just saw a new iPad in September, less than 3 months ago. We got the iPad Air, the super multicolor, every flavor of the Skittles rainbow one. And then they also were just like, hey, and we have a slightly spec'd bump version of the standard iPad, the $329 one they introduced. I think it was the iPad 8 back in September of 2020. And it wasn't a huge refresh, but it was like, okay, there's a new processor inside. Well, apparently, according to CN Beta, who's about 61.5% accurate, Apple's actually planning a pretty significant jump for the base iPad, and it's happening, they say, which I don't really agree with, as early as spring of 2021, which generally when Apple releases things is between March 1st and the last day of April. The part of this rumor that completely makes sense to me, though, is Apple basically turning this base iPad and upgrading it from 10.2 inches to the 10.5 inch iPad Air's design. I mean, Apple's done this routinely in recent history. We see this with the Watch SE, where they take a good watch design and apply it to a lower end model. Or now that the new iPad Air is all screen, Apple obviously still owns everything for the design of that old iPad Air 3. So now that there's a way better version of that old iPad Air design, Apple can upgrade the base iPad to what used to be that mid-tier design. It's a pretty good deal because no matter which iPad you buy, you're getting the newest version of that design. And it's also a way for Apple to say, hey, we've perfected this machining process in this production. We can just move it down to a cheaper model and do it really cost effectively. This is why the iPhone SE is only $400, because Apple's been making those parts in screen sizes since 2014. They've got it down now. CN Beta describes it as a lighter and thinner design with a 10.5 inch display, which again perfectly lines up with what the third generation iPad Air is and was. They say inside there's going to be an A13 processor, which is actually pretty believable considering that there's an A14 inside of the new iPad, and in the old base iPad, there's an A12 processor now, so they're gonna be throwing in an A13. However, they claim there's gonna be 4 gigabytes of RAM. I'm calling BS on this. Like, the iPad Pro has 6 gigabytes of RAM. I just don't see a world where the cheapest iPad has as much RAM inside as the iPhone 12. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. What do you think? Do you think this is going to happen? I say no way. I think this is the 40% of their track record that's just completely off. It is believable that there's going to be 64 gigs of base storage in here. And again, we close out with they're saying as early as spring 2021. I have a feeling we can see this in like June at WWDC or even just like September. Like, again, it doesn't make sense for Apple to double update this iPad. I mean, maybe with the new design, there's some incentive there, but CN beta, you're not fooling me this time, okay? Until I see the right receipts, until I see you guys actually go through and be right about this. But 4 gigabytes of RAM in March, basically, and this new iPad, I'm saying that part's off. To be completely honest with you, though, I've never been very into this iPad just because it's the most stripped down. Least features, least expensive, least premium. It's just not been the right tablet for me. But there is something else Apple's working on for release around the same time. We're hearing near spring of next year, which is in just a couple of months, the release of AirPods 3. Really interesting story that I was reading online about these. I can't remember where I read this, but it was from a very credible site that AirPods 3 were planned to launch in early 2020. Like, Apple had it in the books. But then AirPods Pro went on sale and they did way better than expected. AirPods 3, of course, have also been called AirPods Pro Lite. They share a very similar design with like a similar pod shape, but they don't seem to be in ear. So Apple said if we release these AirPods 3 that look so similar to AirPods Pro, it's gonna, disincentivize all those buyers that would just buy AirPods Pro, the more expensive ones. So why would we screw up our margins or sell less of this product that's already selling so well? So Apple said, okay, we've got this, pretty much figured out, but we're gonna push it until early 2021. That's why we saw all these weird AirPods Pro Lite rumors, like Apple was working on them. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them have been produced already, just because Apple seemingly changed their mind after being legitimately surprised that so many people were throwing down $250 for AirPods Pro. And we have a new report today from The Elect, who is becoming an increasingly credible source that I track. Right now, The Elect is 75% accurate, which is pretty good. They're not top tier at this point, but they're starting to build their credibility with some solid reporting. All right, their details about AirPods 3, really, well, okay, kind of mixed. Let's talk about price first. I usually say this for the end, but I just want to, get the hearts calm down. AirPods, they have the reputation to be kind of expensive. Apparently, the pricing of $199 will stay the same for the base AirPods. Now, that's my understanding because like AirPods with wireless charging case start at $199. On Apple's site, AirPods 2 with the wired charging case start at $159. So I have a feeling Apple's going to switch exclusively to the wireless charging case and just be like, hey, it is $199, which is more expensive than the base, but everybody gets a wireless charging case included. And personally, I did find it very weird and still do that Apple sells just the charging case. Like, I get it for AirPods 1 owners, but it was always a weird move that you can just buy an AirPods charging case for $80. It didn't really make sense. Yeah, just reading this again, I'm pretty sure they're just gonna push everybody up to the wireless charging case and then sell that as a feature for why the base version of AirPods 3 will be a little bit more expensive. Now, you would think that, okay, if they're going up in price, we're gonna get the wireless charging case by default and also a ton of other great features. A lot of the features other than the design remain to be unseen, but one that the Elect points out is that apparently the H1 chip will remain. Okay, this is weird because the H1 chip debuted in 2019, in March, with AirPods 2. It would be like if Apple announced the iPhone 13 and they're like, hey, got the same processor inside as last year. Everybody'd be like, whoa, what? That's not allowed, is it? Is this illegal? Can they just do this? Can they give us the same processor? Obviously, the Elect could be wrong on this one, but I mean, if they are the base version and the H1 chip is doing pretty well for powering these AirPods, then yeah, I guess Apple doesn't really have an incentive to change it out. But I would hope that if the price is going up for the base model, that the processor inside gets better. Like, I just don't know how Apple's going to sell this. It'll definitely be a huge red flag for anybody really into AirPods. It's like, okay, yeah, the pod's design is getting an upgrade, but is the audio quality really going to get better if it's the exact same chip as before? Where's the incentive to upgrade there? So I could see this detail being wrong. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Like Apple's been doing some weird, they released a $550 pair of over-ear headphones. Is the base version of these headphones right now. Like that's pretty expensive. So who knows if we'll be getting, maybe they'll take out the chip. Maybe this will just run off of cellular nucleosis. I don't even know what that is, but I'd be down to try it. And that is gonna wrap up the show for today. The episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're excited for Christmas next week. Yeah, the holidays are still here even though we can't leave our houses. Hope you guys are doing well, taking care of yourself, please. Please do that. It's important. Drop a like if you enjoyed this one. Hit subscribe for more. I'm Sam. I'll catch you in my next one. Peace.